What does this mean for the employees and the workforce that are working for your businesses? And it's equally important to take them into account and to understand the changes that are happening with them. As their working practices and the way they want to work change as they become more social in their individual private lives, so they're bringing that into the workplace. And more people, as we said earlier, are increasingly comfortable sharing with each other online socially. And they really want to be doing this internally as well. Gartner recognizes, Gartner has said that 95% of business activity can no longer be modeled using traditional business processes. And one of the big issues that businesses have is that we actually have to move from the very hierarchical, structured, rigid structures of old into a new collaborative way of working, into a new way of thinking about how we run our businesses and how we get our workforce and people to engage with us. A comment that I just want to read from The Economist, from a survey that they did, said, the way that people, especially the youth, work and interact online in their homelines runs up against the 21st century workplace. We stick them in a cubicle and we supervise them, and then we take away their tools. And that's something to think about when we think about our business. A 2010 survey for the computer security firm McAfee of 1,000 companies in 17 countries found that half of them banned social media sites from the workplace. In fact, one of them was Goldman Sachs, who also happens to have invested $450 million into Facebook, which is interesting. But a blanket ban on use of these tools in the workplace is really a self-inflicted wound at the end of the day. It just displaces behavior and increases in efficiency. And at the end of the day, because of the smart device, because it's so mobile, because it's in your pocket, the employee who can't use it officially at workplace in a formal way will simply go and buy a personal device and have it there anyway. And that's what you find more and more. I've seen it many times. Or if they don't do that, they'll use email, which in itself is becoming more and more antiquated as a way of conversing and talking to one another. It also sends out a negative message from the business owners. Banning social tools simply says to those people who actively use them, well, we don't really understand your way of working, so we won't let you use them. And so I think that we need to think about these things as we look at our business. But even more, we need to start thinking about how to build our businesses in a social way as well, in a collaborative way, in a way that talks to, where people internally can talk to each other more effectively. McKinsey research shows that there's a big payday for companies who are prepared to embrace these types of tools and the new ways of thinking and talking and conversing. To connect both the internal efforts of employees to each other and to the outside world, but also to extend the organization's reach to customers, partners, and suppliers. When Henry Ford produced the Model T Ford and he had to produce exactly the same car over and over again, it was necessary for him to have very rigid structures, very rigid processes, inflexible ways of working. But times moved on, technology has as well, and now the world is operating in a slightly different way, I think. So then, as we look to the future, well, I can't tell you exactly what the future is going to hold. What I do know is that it's changing dramatically all the time, that the tools we've got in place today are going to be probably different in the future. But I do know that there's things happening now around the way we talk to each other, the way we converse with our customers, the way we do our business internally, that we need to take into account and that we need to be thinking of in our businesses and taking action now. Some conversations will never change. We'll always have events like this where we talk face to face with each other, where we build up personal relationships, and those will always be critically important. But we also need to recognize the virtual world out there and recognize how it's beginning to affect our lives. People have always been united within the communities that they exist. Whether it's a community like the Swiss Club and the Swiss Business Club here, this is a community and you know each other, or whether it's a virtual community that's out there. Our Yammer, the tool that we put in place, is almost creating a virtual internal community, which I believe actually encourages loyalty and within the workforce as well. And I've got a 15-year-old son, as an example, who likes to play online games with his friends. He's got friends in the US, he's got friends in the UK, and often when I come home, I find them online playing the games, talking on Skype, with video conferencing, looking at each other, devising strategies of how to play the game as they move forward and so on. But I think he epitomizes as an example the sort of person who's going to be coming into your business in years to come and in days to come. Maybe not years away, maybe they're probably already there. And I think that's the reason, he's the reason why you need to be thinking about how you create businesses that support this and can take advantage of this sort of, these ways of working. So just to finish off then, I think businesses need to seriously think about how you transform yourselves around conversations, around social media, around some of these, around these technologies that are taking place. If we are to remain relevant to our customers, and we want to enable our employees to do their tasks as well as they can, and if we want the best results for our business, then we do need to think about these things.